got an exciting video for you guys today. We're going to audit a strategy today to prove whether it's good or bad. And I'm going over to Daviddtech's channel. He recently put out a video that says 100% win rate. And this is the most profitable indicator that he's ever built. So we're going to put it through all of the tests. We're going to deep back test it, convert it into a TradingView strategy, and to test it out for ourselves to do an unbiased analysis. So by the end of this video, we're going to see whether this is the real deal or not. Before we get into it, if you're not subscribed to my channel, hit that notification bell icon, subscribe, and like. That really helps the channel out and is free to do, so click those right now. So we're going to watch part of Daviddtech's video now so that we can write down what the strategy rules are so that when we go through and convert it, it'll all be accurate to what he says the strategy is for, what kind of stocks he's trading it on, the time frames, and all of that. So it'll be one-to-one comparison.
Source script. But what you see in front of you is the script that I have been running for around 3 years. It's the dead zone indicator, and it's been responsible for a trade where I made $8,700 in 48 hours. This is the dead zone, guys. This is my open source indicator and has been one of the most profitable trading strategies that I've been running on bots for around 3 years. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the charts. I'm going to show you exactly what's behind this indicator, and then I will release it on TradingView free of charge and open source, so you can improve it yourselves and make it even better. Let's get straight to it. Okay guys, what you can see on the chart is my dead zone strategy converted into an indicator. I'm releasing this free and open source.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up on TradingView real quick. So once you're on TradingView, you just go over to the Indicators tab, and it's the Dead Zones strategy. So I have that. I'm going to add it to the chart right now, and we'll see how it looks. Looks pretty cool. Has a full table showing whether the system is in a short. Right now it's in a short, and it's not a strategy, so there's no backtesting numbers. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look what his rules are so we could plug those into ChatGPT and convert his indicator into a strategy. But first, what we have to do is be able to check if this is an open source or closed source. It says right here it's open source. So we can open up the source code by clicking that button right here, these parentheses. And this is the source code. So this is what we're going to be using in our ChatGPT prompt. So I'm just going to hit the copy button on all of the code, and then we're going to head over to ChatGPT. Okay, so I've got the indicator pasted into ChatGPT, and I'm prompting ChatGPT, we need to convert this indicator into a strategy, and then the rules are going to be as follows. Now, the rules might just be the default ones on the indicator itself, showing whether the system is in a short or not, but I just want to watch the video to make sure that we get it perfectly accurate. And it looks like he's on the Bitcoin 1 hour chart. So I'm going to change my TradingView chart to that one. It's the Bybit chart as well. So right now I'm on the Bitcoin USDT chart, but I'm on the Binance one. So I want to switch over to the Bybit one. That's the second one here. That's the perpetual contract right here. That looks like it's the same one that Daviddtech is on, and he's on the 1 hour chart. So now we're on the exact same chart that he is, so we can do a proper one-to-one comparison, and I'll expand the screen so you can see everything that's going on.
I'm going to go through this. This indicator is based on the NNFX system. As you can see, there are multiple colors and multiple entries. I'm going to go through exactly what activates the entries on this chart and why it's so powerful. This has been backtested all the way back to 2020 and has been live traded for around 3 years. It's been absolutely amazing to all of us in my community. So let's get into the charts. First of all, we're going to start adding some indicators so you can see what's behind the plan, and then I'll explain the entries on the chart. First thing we're going to do is add the Hull moving average. It's this one here, just here. We're going to add that to our charts. Now this is going to give us our baseline. I'm going to set it to a 25 moving average period. It depends on what you're actually trading.
So just to be clear, his indicator already has the whole moving average built into it. This is the indicator on screen, and this green line here, if I open up the settings, it has the whole length right here, the Hall moving average. So it already has that built in. He just wants to show visually separate indicators on screen. So what's going on?
Trading, but for the sake of demonstration today, we're going to be setting to 25. Now the Hull is a fantastic indicator. What it does is it gives us our baseline. So when price is above the Hull indicator, we're looking for longs, and when it's below, we're looking for shorts. As you can see, it stays nice and tight to price action. But we don't only trade one single indicator here at Daviddtech. We create a full plan. We have one indicator called the baseline, looking for trend direction. We then have another indicator to confirm our entry, generally a crossover
This is what we're looking for,
like a MACD or something like that. We then have another indicator which confirms that confirmation. So we have two confirmation indicators. Further on, we have a volatility or a volume indicator to...
Okay, perfect. That is good. You want multiple confirmations for Confluence, and then a volatility filter to filter out some low volatility trades for false signals.
confirm to make sure there's enough movement in the market for us to take an entry. We don't want to be stuck in sideways moving action where we can't take our profits. And then we have a final indicator, which is generally an ATR based indicator, which will set our stop losses to get some of those wonderful swings out of the market, but obviously getting us out of the trades when they go in the wrong direction, and always practicing good risk management. Okay, so the first indicator is the HMA, the Hull moving average, which is this blue line here. The second indicator we're going to add, and which is one of my most powerful indicators I have ever found, is the Daviddtech. Now I use one of the two top indicators here, generally the SHK or one by Lazy Bear. We're going to give Lazy Bear some love today. It was in, and we'll add that one to our chart instead. So we have the Lazy Bear Daviddtech indicator here, which looks very much like a flattened version of the MACD. We are going to be taking note.
Now our indicator already has this built in as well, so we don't need to separately add it to chart. It's already built in there.
It is of a couple of things here. The first and most important thing is the color of this histogram. If it's a dark green, we will take longs. If it's a dark red, we will be taking shorts. Now, as you can see also here, there is a blue dotted line. That blue dotted line is called the dead zone, and where we have the name of our indicator. The dead zone you can move around on our indicator, and it's a threshold. What we're looking for is for our green candles to actually go green and actually be above that threshold. As you can see, they are currently all above the threshold, but we actually can move it around and optimize to find our best settings in our actual indicator over here. So that is the Daviddtech. So we're looking for price to be above the HMA, and we're looking for a green candle to confirm our entries. The next indicator is the Bull Bear Power indicator, which is by TradingView themselves. As you can see here, this is another powerful, very powerful indicator. Look,
there's another oscillator built in. I'm looking for the settings to see how he has it tuned for the Bitcoin 1 hour chart so that we can map it on perfectly.
Pretty much the same sort of entries as the Daviddtech, which is great. They complement each other. We're going to be using this one in a very similar way to the Daviddtech indicator. We're just looking for a green histogram for a bullish entry and a red histogram for a bearish entry. So all looking very good. As you can see, we have some great entries here confirmed by all of the indicators at the same price. Our final indicator that we're going to be adding is the ADX. Now this ADX is very, very powerful. We're going to be using the ADX and MA. What this indicator does is it allows us to confirm that there's enough movement in the market, and we're not going to get into the market when movement is going sideways. As you can see on the chart, we've added the ADX. The ADX is the red one and the MA is the blue line.
I just want to confirm that our indicator has that built in. So on TradingView, yeah, it has the ADX as well as the ATR stop loss. So this has everything that we need. The explosion sensitivity. This is everything that we need.
Line. We just want the red line to be above the blue line just to confirm all our entries. Okay, we're going to be adding my indicator back here. Now what this indicator does, it takes all of those indicators, put it into a full trading plan, which will allow us to get these buy and sell signals. As you can see, it is extremely powerful and has some absolutely wonderful entries just here, like this one here. We're looking at a short at this candle just here. Now what we do is we're waiting for a short sell signal just here. Now that means that all of the indicators are aligned up in this table here, meaning meaning we have a bearish baseline. Our two confirmation indicators are bearish and our volatility indicator is valid as well. Valid for volatility goes for short or long entries, and we have our stop loss, and then we can see that we're already in a trade. We're going to set our stop loss directly to the ATR line, which is this red line here. Then either you can wait for price to come back above it and get out of your short here, or you can actually aim for a risk to reward, which is my preferred method, of a 1 to 1.5 or a little bit more, but then obviously you will be reducing your win rate. Okay, one last advanced tip before I leave you. The ADX is one of the most powerful indicators that I've ever used, and thanks to our dashboard you can exactly see where the ADX is. You can see whether it's above your threshold. This is one of the most powerful indicators out there to keep you out of sideways trading. If you take only one thing from this, I would use the ADX indicator. Absolutely brilliant.
The ADX is just a trend strength index, so it measures the strength of the trend before it reverses. So it is actually a good filter if it's tuned in correctly. I'm just waiting to see if he gives us any settings that we can use here in the video.
As far as I'm concerned, the dead zone strategy has transformed the way that I've actually been trading, and was one of the first indicators or strategies that I put together that has been profitable in the long run. Very proud of this, and today I'm extremely happy to be giving it to you as a gift. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that one.
Okay, no settings, but we might be able to figure this out for ourselves. So in order to find out what this volatility filter is and the stop levels, we can open up the settings, and usually the style category will have some giveaways for some of the labels in the code to look for. So the buy signal has this upwards green triangle, and the sell signal has a downwards triangle. So in the style category, that's this buy signal and sell signal. So we can open up the code, and I'm just searching for buy signal, and here it is. I'm just highlighting it on screen. And it's the ATP long entry and ATP short entry. So we can use those as our buy signal, and we're going to tell ChatGPT that that's where we want to enter. All right, long entry on ATP long entry, short entry on ATP short entry, and then we want to get our stop loss and take. So I can see the long stop and the short stop here, so that's going to be what we're using for the stop loss. And then the take profit, we might just have to build that in ourselves. We can do that just perfectly fine with ChatGPT. All right, so there's our long stop loss. That's the exact variable that ChatGPT will recognize for a stop loss. And take profit level, Daviddtech recommended a 1.5 risk to reward ratio, and that's just based off the stop loss level. So we're going to upgrade to ChatGPT 04 Mini High. This is the best coding, one of the best coding models. They also have 03, the advanced reasoning. We could probably give this a go, because I know that the 03 is the best model that they have right now available. This is the 03 full. It's not the 03 mini, whereas the 04 minis are a smaller version, a distilled version of the model. So we'll go with the full model now. It's going pretty fast. It's almost done. There we have it. So let's just read the notes if there's anything important here for us. The risk engine, it's asking us if we want trailing take profit. We could consider that, but we'll stick kind of what Daviddtech recommended in his video, and it still has all the original visuals and code. So let's copy this, head over to TradingView, and we'll paste it in. So to create a new indicator, I'm just going to start from scratch. You just click this down arrow here and create new, and we could choose any of these because we're going to delete these lines here. Just select all, delete, and we'll paste our ChatGPT code right in there. And we're going to hit add to chart. We'll remove the old one and add this one to chart. And one extra thing that I'm going to do is add in commission. We're going to add just the commission that I'm currently paying on my exchange, which is 0.05%. And we've set the initial capital and quantity as well. So copying that in, and I'm pasting over the original one ChatGPT gave me. It's all in one line there for simplicity. All right, now that's added to chart. I'm going to go back to David's video, see if there's any settings that he had on screen that I can utilize to see if there was any better results, just to check his settings on the Bitcoin 1 hour chart.
Line, I'm going to set it to a 25 moving average period. It depends on what you're actually trading.
Okay, so he was using the HMA, and he's using HMA 25, but I don't see any other variables shared. So I'm going to spend some time playing around with it, see if I could get any good results in the backtest. Also, David, if you're watching, maybe you could comment down below the variables that you're using. I'm going to play around here a little bit. I really want to get the most accurate one-to-one results that you had. I can maybe do a deep backtest and control for the exact window that you were playing around with. Played around with the settings as much as I could. I tuned everything once, and then I went through and did a second pass just to see if I could find some better settings, and these are the best ones I was able to get. The drawdown's actually quite low, but it's equal to the total P&L, give or take. The total profitable trades is actually around 60%, so that's not the worst thing. The thing I'm worried about here is some of the trades look like it enters along here and then it takes its profit almost right away. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to look out for. How I can set the take profit to be further away. So if I open up ChatGPT, maybe I can adjust some of these strategy rules for the strategy exits to see if we can hold our trade maybe a little bit longer. For now, I'm going to just try disabling the stop loss by just commenting it out, and then we'll see if we can get some more powerful trades, because just by looking at the chart, some of these trades look like, here, let's zoom in right so you can see what I'm talking about. It took its profit right away on the same candle, and this one was just one or two candles afterwards. So it has a higher win rate, but per trade, it's not making very. And right away, there we go. So it's able to hold on to its trades longer. And I'm going to play around with some of these new settings. Right now, since we don't have the take profit activated, it really has to either hit the stop loss level or it has to flip from a long to a short for it to be able to exit automatically. So building this out, you might consider adjusting a more dynamic take profit level, but that chandelier is something we could do with ChatGPT as well, but it's going to essentially work just like how it is now. So this ATR follows that short down, the trade all the way down, and then can reverse upwards. But one other thing that I'm noticing is this flips quite quickly. So I'm going to change the whole moving average settings. I'm going to play around with it just to see if I can dial it in a little bit better. Okay, and on average, what I'm doing is I'm just playing around with a wide scope of parameters first, and then I start dialing it in. So with the whole length that I'm moving right now, I'm moving at about 5 units, and then once the profit starts to decline or I see a clear trend, usually that's where you just start to reverse and back up and slow down a little. So there's 5 variables up. It went from 60% profit to 90. So we'll keep going more and more and more until we start to see a plateau. So it's going down now. We might be near the top, and I always like going with a couple extreme variables just to see if there's a better result. So if I go from 45 to, it doesn't look like I can go past 100 here based on the settings, but let's just go to the maximum amount here, 100. And so that's topped out. So the best setting I had was around this area, going back to it, and there you have it. 41 is the best net profit number that I can come up with. And then if we're trying to reduce the max drawdown, the hull is going to filter out the direction of the trade, but the thing that's going to filter out any bad trades is going to be this explosion indicator here. So these are a lot of variables to play around with. There's a lot of different possibilities. So I'll play around with this until I find something that works. And so the settings that I'm looking at here are, I'm looking at the total P&L, but I'm also looking at that drawdown. So I'm trying to bring this number down so that we have less loss and bring the profit up. But generally, I put more priority on minimizing the drawdown. A lot of people try to maximize the profit when they're changing these settings, but for me, I place a lot of weight on low risk so that I can feel safer in my trades. Okay, so after as much playing around with it as I could, obviously there are probably millions of possible settings you could choose because all of these compound with complexity, but I was able to achieve this result factoring in commission and all other variables. So there's 1,000 trades, total P&L over the last, when was the first trade here? It goes for pretty far back. I can do a deep back test, but this is going to include some out of sample data now to see if it holds up or not. It looks kind of hit or miss long term, 18% profitability long term, and that holds pretty true with the current version, 18% profitability. So if you guys can find some better settings with this, it's going to be linked in the Discord. Full credit to Daviddtech for it. And here's the open source code. I've retained David's strategy and all of his credit there in the open source code. So I'm going to paste it for free in the Discord. This is for anyone to play around with. Again, all I've really done is I took David's indicator from TradingView, and I highly recommend going to his indicator, and he recommends favoriting it as well. So if you hit favor on that, that'll help David out. And if you want to grab the strategy version, you can convert it yourself, or you can use this version here, and we can consider adding some different take profit levels, or trying to find some settings that David and if any of his subscribers are watching, if you know the settings, please comment them down below and we'll test them out. And maybe I'll do a follow-up video confirming those settings to see what we can do with it. And so it looks like it's going to take some time to dial in these settings because it really is super complicated. There's a lot going on with this strategy, but it's always good practice to make sure that you do your back testing, be as rigorous as you can. And overall, the strategy does not look bad. It might just need some balancing, maybe dialing in the take profit levels to be as profitable as you can get it. Right now, the take profit is disabled because as soon as it flips from long to short, it'll flip, and technically that could be a take profit level. On this upward sweep, the tuning that I have right now, for example, maybe we could get it to be a little bit more smooth with some more dynamic settings. And from there, it's just about doing some more rigorous testing on it. For example, it hit this trade very well. It only shorted once it had topped and started to topple over. But the thing that seems like is really hurting this strategy, at least right now, is there's a little bit of maybe too much trading. It's hitting a short here, it's exiting, and you want to minimize those false signals with some of those filters. So he has a lot of filters going on with the strategy. There's the explosion, there's the ADX for the strength of the trend, and those are all really good filters to include. So with some time, maybe some fine tuning, we can get some good settings, but feel free to come to the Discord server, grab it for free. You can find it on TradingView. One more time, it's the Dead Zone Pro strategy. You can find the raw version right here. There's 1.3 thousand people using it already. And yeah, if you guys like this style of video, I can definitely review any indicator that you want. I might do this in the future again, so let me know if you want to see more strategy videos going through to see if there's any good strategies, trying to filter out and sift through your favorite indicators to see what works. And for now, this is, before I leave you off, this is one of my bots here. This is the Wolfpack settings that I have for the Rune 3-minute chart. And these are the recent settings in the short term. Long term, I can do a deep backtest to show you fully what's going on. So while this loads on the deep backtest, it's just calling TradingView's API. This has a lot of filters to try to filter out a lot of the noise. All of these trades here in this big block, there's different degrees of flat. So you can notice there's the deep backtest here on screen. It's still consistently profitable. So even after tuning and adjusting the strategy, it still performs consistently in real time. Of course, there's going to be some areas that get chewed up, but overall on net, it's, at least even in the short term, it's still performing quite well. And I have a 5-minute, 4-minute version. I even tried making a 1-minute version that was still profitable, that I could, it does definitely get chewed up in more that short term. So what I've been using is the slightly higher term versions. But overall, if you're putting on more capital, those higher time frames are always more reliable. They're slower. They don't trade as frequently. So if you're into high frequency trading, it's more of those smaller time frames. But going through the deep backtest is always good. And then also the short term backtest to see how they are holding up in the current markets. But these thick lines here, these thick orange bands, those are more flat. And then there's thinner lines that are less thick, that are still flat. And the strategy won't trade until all of them are dissolved. So, for example, this trade here was a really significant breakout. It detected this is a clear high volatility area, and it took the trade once this really, really choppy market, which you would not want to be trading in this market. So it's good that this strategy was able to consistently filter that flat market out. This is a very low volatility area, so it dodged that. For example, just zooming out, this area here is one that you don't want to be trading in, but look how much volatility there is there. That's when the bot opens up for potential market opportunity. And this is a Wolfpack Elite bot, which is available on wop.com/trade tactics. If you want to check it out, feel free. I have a lot of good reviews on the indicator. You get VIP access to the Discord, the Elite bot, and I'm consistently putting out new settings for this. I'm testing it in Python, doing robustness testing. What that means is taking samples of TradingView data, of exchange data, so from Binance or Bybit, downloading the data and restructuring it, adding more volatility, randomizing the data to see if the strategy still consistently performs. And all of those techniques are those that validate the statistics. So keep in mind that the strategy tester in TradingView is quite limited, all things considered. It does definitely give you a snapshot of what's going on statistically, but ideally you want to have as much rigor as possible. And even looking at the advanced metrics like the Sharpe ratio, Sortino ratio, those are good, but there can be an invalid Sortino ratio or an invalid Sharpe ratio. So you have to go further to see whether the strategy performs consistently in unseen data in real time, so forward testing. And likewise, a lot of this is back testing, but in current real time, since tuning the strategy it's been over a year since I've tuned the strategy, it's still going up. And I've got all of the commission factored in to this. These are the settings here. And I've got all these snapshot of all these settings in the Discord server. So you can come and check that out as well. But comment down below what kind of video you want me to do. I can do more strategy reviews. I can do more education on robustness testing. Please comment what you want to see, and I'll be sure to read all the comments. And I'm interested in engaging as much as I can with you guys, and all learning how to apply AI to your strategies and take advantage of new technology as much as you can. So I'll see you in the next